You found it. It's the real news with your host, David Knight.
I want to get to Hillary Clinton because, she's just the gift that just keeps on giving. And she is making the media rounds everywhere now. She's just everywhere pushing her book. I mean, she's doing book signings in Costco. I put out on my Twitter feed on Libertarian, I put out a picture, and it was a juxtaposition of President Trump sitting behind the Oval Office desk and Hillary Clinton at Costco signing books, looking forlorn. So, I mean, this is, you got to love that when you see that, because we have been watching this corrupt woman for a very long time, and she should be in prison. And she claims, as she attacks InfoWars multiple times in her book, she doesn't know. There's that picture if you're watching this on the video feed. That's pretty desperate. And of course, her book was discounted. What was it? 40-50% before it even was released. And they knew that nobody wanted to see this thing. And of course, there's a lot of Democrats who were upset with her as well, because she dumped on everybody. Everybody is to blame for this except for her. It's Barack Obama's fault. It's Joe Biden's fault. It's Bernie Sanders' fault. It's the Democrat National Party's fault. Most of all, it's the Russians' fault. But it's not Hillary Clinton's fault. She is not to blame for any of this. And so she went on The View, and it's just this love fest with all these women, except for one, who asked her some interesting questions. And it basically wasn't even questioning the nonsense about Russia and so forth. It was questioning the fact that she had attacked so many Democrats. Why are you attacking all these Democrats? She said, it's not just Republicans who've had issue with this book, she said to Hillary Clinton to her face. She said, former campaign surrogates of yours, former fundraisers have said, this book puts us in the past. We want to move forward. We want to figure out where to take this party, how to succeed in the future, blah, blah, blah. I want to play you that clip and then tell you what happened to this lady, Jedediah Bila, after she had the audacity to ask Hillary Clinton why she is attacking Democrats, why she can't move on and keeps dwelling in the past after evidently getting out of her straitjacket in the little corner of her cell that she was in, hunkering down as a, trying to deal with the reality of what had happened to her. But now she's doing her book tour. So here's that question, and I'll tell you what happened to the lady who asked it right after we play the clip.
Democrats have come out as well, former campaign surrogates of yours, former fundraisers, and said, this book puts us in the past, and we want to move forward. We want to figure out where to take this party, how to succeed in the future, and this places us in the past. How do you respond to Democrats also coming out in criticism of your writing this?
Well, I think they first should read the book. Yes. And they should read the book because what I try to do is to say, okay, here's what happened. I'm giving you my best assessment, the evidence that I have at
By all means, don't listen to it. That'll drive you insane.
But it's not just about the past. For example, the Russians are still messing with our democracy, and they will be as aggressive as they can get away with. Again, not a Republican or Democratic issue. They may have gone after me this last time, but if they think they can destabilize us, which is Putin's principal goal, he wants to undermine democracy, our alliance with the Western democracies. If he can succeed in that, we are all going to be worse off. So I say to my friends on Russia, on suppression of voters, particularly African-American and young voters, and sexism and misogyny, which are endemic in our system, and we ought to start talking about it.
Right.
So that's what I
We agree with that. We totally agree with that. So, but,
we love that.
I was sure that you were going to win. I mean,
play that identity politics again.
I know you are.
Okay, let's hold it right there. She says, I was just sure you were going to win. And she said, so was I. Remember, I read you last week a flashback article from 2013, August of 2013. It was from that bastion of news, the Daily Beast. And they were absolutely certain. They had, what was it, 15 reasons or something? She was absolutely unbeatable. And of course, the first one was the identity politics that all those women in the audience of The View just love. It was going to be Madam President. That was the first thing. And then the fact that she owned the media. Hillary Clinton is saying, wait a minute, we don't own the media, but we got to own the media. And we're going to get Google, and they're working for us with Report for America, funding 1,000 journalists. with an advisory board of the mainstream media as they try to censor your sharing of real news with InfoWars. And when I mean that, I mean it categorically, not just this program, Real News, but I mean all the real news that you're getting. They want to make sure that doesn't get out there. They want to economically censor people. They're doing that across YouTube all the time. So she's very concerned about that. But, you know, these were all the reasons that the Daily Beast gave us. Hey, she owns the media. They love her. It's her turn. It's going to be Madam President and so forth and so on. Oh, and then the best one from the Daily Beast was, the Electoral College gives the Democrats a lock on the election. And what's she doing now? She's trashing the Constitution. She's trashing the idea of the Electoral College. And we know where the Electoral College is coming from. The Electoral College is coming from the idea that the federal government was a creation of the sovereign states, just as we see right now the United Nations was the creation of sovereign states. Sovereign states like America, like Russia, like Britain and France and so forth. But then, just like we saw with the American government, we have the United Nations saying, you know what, we're going to be the one sovereign. We're going to take things over. And I remember telling my wife 30 years ago, I said, you know what, when you look at the Civil War, the parallels are absolutely amazing between the ascendancy of the federal government and the ascendancy of the United Nations. And I said they're going to do something like outlaw internal combustion engines. What do we see now, right? They're going to outlaw internal combustion engines, and then they're going to say, we have to have a tax, and we have to, if you're not going to get rid of this, if you're not going to shut down your economy by shutting down your power plants and everything, we're going to send an army in. And we're going to make sure, you know, if they start doing that, start penalizing people, and somebody says, we're going to get out of the United Nations, then they're going to send their army in. And they're going to subdue you. They're going to keep you in that organization. And so, you know, I think that's the interesting backdrop. But getting back to Hillary Clinton, getting back to what happened to this woman, her name is Jedediah Bila. And there was a report here, and this source is ilovemyfreedom.org. And they said that there were, they quoted, let's see, what's their original quote? It's the New York Post, actually, that they're quoting. They said that there were a lot of staff that were upset about how that interview was handled, said an anonymous source. They wanted Jedediah to calm things down. And she was signed on for a full season, but now she's gone. Just a day after she had the audacity to say, Hillary Clinton, why are you attacking Democrats? How dare you say that? How dare you say that? So she was on for a full season. Now she's gone. And they say, well, she was uncomfortable behind the scenes because nobody wanted her to ask Hillary Clinton. They wanted her back. Let's go back to Hillary Clinton. We played the clip for you where she went on The View, and we had Jedediah Bila ask her a question. Don't you think, we've had a lot of Democrats criticize what you're saying. Don't you think you should cut out the criticisms of the Democrats? Don't you think you should maybe move forward? Hillary, is there a life after this election for you? Evidently, Hillary thinks there is, and maybe she's just going to be a rotating pundit, spreading news, fake news about Russian interference and so forth. But I want to play you a supercut of Hillary Clinton. Here's that supercut about the election.
You know, I was sure that you were going to win. I mean, let me take you back to that night. So was I. I know.
But I was on the way to winning. I thought I was going to win. But for that intervention, I would have won. I would have won, but for Jim Comey's letter. Absent that, I believe, and I think the evidence shows, I would have won. But for that Comey letter, she would have won. If the election been on October 27th, I'd be your president. You know, he didn't win the popular vote. He squeaked through in the Electoral College.
We did win, in fact.
Well, I won the popular vote. I did win the women's vote. I got more white women votes than Barack Obama did. I won 3 million more votes than the other guy. Right. Remember, I did win more than 3 million votes than my opponent. He should worry less about the election and my winning the popular vote, as we won the popular vote so significantly.
We're not so sure about that.
I would have won. I would have won. What happened?
I won.
Yeah, that's Hillary. You keep telling yourself that, Hillary. You keep telling yourself that you won. Maybe that will help you to deal with the reality that you didn't win. You didn't win, and we're so glad of that.
U.S. President Donald Trump on Tuesday giving North Korea his most aggressive warning to date.
President Trump is not a racist.
I say red baseball caps
mean you're an ass.
Tonight, the fight over Confederate statues is now a flashpoint.
Large groups of people punching, kicking, and hitting each other with sticks.
If you see this and you understand what is going on and it makes you angry, do not take yourself out of the game.
In ancient times, man roamed the earth in a constant state of hunting or being hunted. Introducing Caveman, where cutting-edge science meets ancient super nutrients. Secure your bottle right now at InfoWarsStore.com.